Shalom lekulam. This is Parashat Hukat. And Parashat Hukat, we have to understand, always starts the opening for the summer season and the month of Tammuz, Cancer. And we know cancer, unfortunately, is also a name of a terrible, frightening disease. Cancer also is a term that means chaos. So the question is how Hukat, Parashat Hukat, is helping us in order to resolve all of these issues. So Parashat Hukat, as we said, is in between or the beginning of the month of Cancer, Tammuz. And Tammuz, if you look at the word Tammuz, the name of this month in Hebrew, Tammuz, say some Kabbalists, is the letters of Tam, Vav, Zayin, the completion of Vav, Zayin. What is Vav? That's the letter that created Taurus, Iyar. What is Zayin? The letter that created Sivan, Gemini. Okay? And when you take the Vav, Zayin and you combine them together, you get the Chet, which is the letter that created Tammuz, which is the month of Cancer. So it could be Tam, from the word complete, or Met, dead, Vav Zayin. So, which means, somehow when we reach to Tammuz, it's not in the middle of somewhere, it's a build-up that started in Iyar and Sivan. What was the major tikkun that we had in Iyar? The major tikkun we had in Iyar, which is the month of light, and is being ruled with Venus, the planet of love. So the whole thing about the tikkun of the month of Iyar was love and light and forgiveness and unconditional love in order to basically free ourselves from our bondage. What's the tikkun of the month of Gemini? So we have the month of Gemini is like to free ourselves from our logic. And our logic, we know, as we said in the last few weeks, our logic is totally not free. Our logic is totally enslaved to our heart. So the Nachmanides is saying, when we say about Korach, last week's parasha, Vayikach Korach, what did he take? He took a bad advice. From whom? So there's his wife, this and that. There's so many. But the Nachmanides is saying, the Ramban, he's saying he took a bad advice from his heart. What does it mean, his heart? The moment I have, I said, the moment you watch soccer or baseball, and it's two groups, two teams you have never seen before. Within a few seconds, you're already side one and you're against the other one. Right? Few seconds. And that's it. You are your kind of, what's the word? You are stamped. You're stamped already. You hate them and you love them, and you'll find the ones you decided you love, you find all the reason in the world why you should continue loving them. And the one you can't stand, you find all the reason in the world logical to justify why you can't stand them. Isn't that the way we do also with people? Some of us are very fast to do that. We just put the stamp very easily. Some of us, they do it slow, but we're very good at it. Why? We're humans. So when we think that we are logic and we rationalize things, so Daniel Kahneman got the Nobel Prize, proving scientifically that people do not rationalize really the most important decision in their lives. It's all about emotion, and then they explain why they already made the choice. So, why is that connected to here? Because we learned that the month of Sivan, Gemini, was about community order, about community interaction, about the ability to look at the person in a loving way and include, not seclude, not exclude, include them within, because he's part of your environment, he's part of your community, and that's why you should really care for them, to lift them up. And that was the whole series of parashot that were in the month of Sivan. Which means that if you look at the person, no matter what faults you find in him, as long as you really believe that you have to lift them up, and we gave a lot of examples, you will see how they become productive because you trust them and you give them that feeling. And that's what we need in order to have a functional society. Now, if you don't do that, and you're not doing something that is really crucial in every society. Again, society is a family, expanded family, the people you associate with, your friends, and especially your business associates, right? Because usually people today, they go to work early in the morning, they come late at night. That's your family, that's your community, that's everything. You need in every community to have a system of garbage disposal. What is garbage disposal? Somebody said something and you're starting, you get hurt, and the result is you start to create dysfunctional society, and that because you're not looking within, you're looking outside. And we said it has 3 steps. First step is you ignore that basically you are the one who's reactive. You are the one that you are upset. You blame another person, and subconsciously you blame the creator. That's why we said, one finger points at the person to be blamed. One finger is like, God, how did you let him do this to me? And 3 says take responsibility because it all starts and finishes with you. 3 out of 5, that's a big majority. Okay, it's beyond half, beyond 50%. This is a real certain majority. Now, if you don't do that, so the Torah is warning us that you're getting endangered with reaching all kind of illogical, weird, dangerous decisions that are all explained by your logic, which means they're all being justified by your logic because our logic is so flexible, it can endure everything. Okay? The first step of disaster is you have a community disharmony. If that is not being taken care of, the next step, it will be internalized. And that is when you are in disharmony with the community, the disharmony starts to settle inside your body. Because our body is a community of trillions of cells. It's a community of cells that belong to our DNA. It's our liver, it's our, and it's being discovered lately that most of the diseases can be somehow put into the family of what is called autoimmune diseases. What does it mean, autoimmune diseases? It's when part of the body simply dislikes another part of the body and they start to have a fight. So, diabetes, we thought it was because of external issues. No, it's when the immune system is starting to attack those cells in the pancreas, creating insulin. Okay, and I can give more and more. It's like what MS is when the immune system is attacking the nervous system, the nerve cells, the nervous system. So, and what is cancer? Is one cell decides, the heck with the rest of the body, I'm going to take as much as I'm a taker. I don't care about, and when the body dies, the cancer dies with him. Too late. Okay? But he had an amazing life till he died. Right? He did whatever he wanted. But he killed himself. Basically, it's a suicide. So, where is this coming from? Research is showing again and again. When you have a person living inside a harmonious society, his chances to get sick are much less than if you live in a disharmonious society. When a person is part of a loving society and is supported with a lot of love, he gets less sick, and when he gets sick, he has higher chances, scientifically, to recuperate. So it's all going back to when you come to cancer, physical disease, it's already after when you skip the opportunity to create unconditional love and you went into starting to rationalize why you can't stand that person and that person and that person. You know, ER, Taurus, Gemini, Sivan. When you pass these two, Vav and Zayin, and if Chas v'Shalom, God forbid, the person did not take those two opportunities, then when you come to the month of Tammuz, that can be developing of a disease. So it's like giving you the history of a disease, or the history of developing the immune from all kinds of diseases. Which means if you start with love, unconditional love, ER, during the counting of the Omer, then when you have that unconditional love, and also with that comes another topic, another issue that is so crucial, faith. Because why should I love another person? Because that's the way to connect to the Creator. And Rabbi Ashlag says, relationships with other people, they are very demanding, and no one can get his engine move without fuel. What's the fuel? What's in it for me? If the fuel is reciprocation, you know, I love people because they will be nice to me. Rav Ashlag said that's a lost case. You are in idol worshipping. Sooner or later you're going to be depleted, you're going to blame and hate the whole world. Don't even start with that. It doesn't work. Look at communism. Few hundred millions of people under the rule of the Soviet Union decided we are going to care and share with each other. In some way it was working. On the other way, Rav Ashlag said 1930, they're going to go bankrupt. Because if you do good to others, and deep inside their question is, why do I have to work so hard for others? If I get the same reward, the same salary, communism, why should I work? Why should I bother? Oh, because they'll be nice to me. They want the people. So the result will be that people will stop working, will stop putting their efforts into, and then the whole economy will start to cave down till they're lost. It took 60 years. But it happened exactly as Rav Ashlag didn't prophesize. He simply showed us, look, A plus B equals C. That's how it works. So simple. And then all the communists, and we see everywhere you're trying to create a communist regime. Look at Venezuela, they tried all over again, the same thing. Doesn't work. People need either, what's in it to me? If I work harder, I get more money. Or, if I work harder, I'm closer to the Creator. If I do that, that's called the spiritual communism. But of course, that can happen only among communities that people are much more developed. Then, you know, one for all for one, everybody's going to work so hard, like the kibbutzim in the beginning, that they were the most powerful financial force, economical force in Israel, and the establishment of Israel, although they were only 4% of the population. Why? They didn't work in order to get better clothes, better cars. They didn't get. They had no clothes, no cars, nothing, no possessions. But they had a goal, something beyond their life. They had a meaning. They were fighting for something bigger than life. And when a person does that, oh, he has the fuel. He has the fuel, he has the God. Not everybody can do that. Only a very idealistic people can do that. And those people, they are the ones who change the world. Okay? Because they don't do it for others to tell them, oh, you're so great, I give you an award. I didn't do it for you. I did it for something bigger, because when a person is doing something for something bigger, for the light, love others as you love yourself. I'm God. You know, Rabbi said, when you do it to God, for God, you get so much reward, you don't need other people's awards and rewards. It's like you feel so much independent. That's the only freedom, based on faith. So, why do people get sick? Lack of faith. It starts with blame. It starts with the disability of people of creating unconditional love. Because when we are in love with life, with the world, with the universe, with people, just because we love them, we're much healthier. Our cells need love in order to flourish. And when there's no love, there's darkness that settles in the cells, and it's accumulative. More darkness, more hatred, more frustration, more upset. And you can blame only yourself. Oh, why do good people die? Or why do bad things happen to good people? And the answer is, they are good, but they're not smart. And here comes the name of the parasha. The name of the parasha is Hukat. Hukat means the law, but not just the law, the law, with a big T, with a big L, the law. Why is that important? As we said, we know a lot of people that are nice people. Why are they nice? Usually because they're born this way. They don't know to be different. The problem is, if they're nice because they're nice, and they have no big picture of what is the goal and how this universe is wired, sooner or later they are going to become depleted, because they are good people that are frustrated, hopeless, depleted, disappointed, because they're just nice people. They were born this way. But life is challenging. And if you don't know you don't know the laws, you don't know the rules of life, and you expect everybody to be like you, and then you start to have the blow. They're not like you. Most people, many times, not all the time, when they fall, when somebody is in despair and they fall, they just grab on whatever is around them. What happens if you are around and they grab on your hair or your clothes, whatever, and it can be torn and you can be injured because somebody else fell and he grabbed you? You know what they say? There are no evil people. There are people that have bad luck, right? And because they have bad luck, they just blame, and when it's like free radicals. When they feel the lack, they try to complete it from you. Simply out of despair and out of lack. If you're not fortified with the knowledge of Kabbalah, you're hopeless in a way. Why do you need the knowledge of Kabbalah? Let's go back to Mount Sinai Revelation. We said that it says in the Zohar, Parashat Yitro, that on Mount Sinai there were 600,000 people who agreed, after walking in the desert, and especially after that month of Iyar, Taurus, they agreed to love each other. They just got out of Taurus, went into Gemini, and then they came to Mount Sinai as one person, one human being, one individual, all for one for all. They were all agreed to love each other. Very unusual. 3 million people. Okay? 600,000 men from 20 to 60. We are talking about a huge crowd. Somehow, this amazing experiment in history succeeded to get a bunch of slaves into unconditional love. Why? They didn't know about Lexus and Mercedes and buying houses and savings and social security and whatever. They just slaves that came out. They were like, it was the biggest Woodstock ever. And beautiful. Everybody was so high. Everybody was so excited. It was not complicated yet. So that was enough to get them to that revelation. And then the Zohar says, when God started to speak, I'm God, your Lord, took you out of Egypt, the land of the house of slavery. And the moment he started to speak, says the Zohar, we all left our bodies. It was an out-of-body experience. And then we said, the Zohar speaks about like this animation. We saw every letter coming down, engraved on the tablets. And as it came down and engraved in the tablets, we saw all the rules that are coming out from every letter. We saw the matrix of the universe. We realize, like branches, if you do this, that's what happened. If you do this, that's what happened. If you do this, it's not about that you are nice or not nice. It's simply, this is how the system works. And this is how you get the system to work in your interest, and that's how you get the system to work against your interest. Nothing to do about being nice. When you're nice just because it's comfortable, the moment it's not comfortable, you won't be nice. Because you're just a follower. You're just a servant, a slave to circumstances. But if you understand the law, and you said, you want to connect to the light, you have to be the light. You have to be creative. You have to overcome judgment. You have to overcome negativity. You have to overcome your own negative reaction towards others, towards whatever happened. You should be very careful about faith, because the only wheel that will allow you to navigate through life is the wheel of the heart. How do you manage the heart? With the brain. Going deep into the heart and asking, what do we have over here? Do we hate? Are we hurt? Are we in pain? Oh no, that's going to be trouble. What do we do? How do we fly high and transform the negativity into positivity? By all means. Why? But he's wrong. And you're right. And you're dead right. You have to be happy. You have to be loving. Why? Because the law is you want to connect to the endless light of the Creator, which is much more supportive than another person can ever be. Your spouse, your children, no matter what, your parents. No one can be that supportive as the light of the Creator. This is the law. The moment you understand that this is the law, you understand, it's like, what do you want from them? So they stepped on your foot. Oh, they step on your broken toe. That's what people do. And what people do also, if you want to be really human, which is superhuman, is you have to overcome the pain, the rage, the hurt, whatever, and transform it into positive, constructive feelings. And what will follow was the sky open up, and you get the answers from the endless. That was what we saw Mount Sinai. Why does it say Kafa alem har kegigit? He imposed it on us like a ball. So we said Nasa v'nishma. We'll do and we'll listen. Because the moment you see how intricate it is, the cause and effect rules, do you have any choices? Of course I'll be nice. I'm always nice. Who will be so that stupid to be not nice? What's the problem? We had an out-of-body experience. Okay? When you get some, alcohol, you can promise everything. And then when you get sober, you forget about it. It's like, yeah, I have a pain. And when you're in pain, you can have a dog. And you know, dogs are very loyal. But if you step on the dog's tail, and he's in pain, he can bite you, right? If he's not really trained, he can bite you. Why? It's normal. If you step on somebody's toe, or emotional toe, broken toe, what will happen? They'll reciprocate. Okay? They'll attack you. Nothing personal. That's what happens. When you're in pain, you hurt other people. Unless you learn to train yourself not to let that take over your mind and your brain. What a tough thing. But this is the law. This is how it works. It's nothing about sentiments. It's nothing about tradition. It's beautiful. It's not beautiful. Beautiful? What is beauty? Beauty is harmony. Beauty means harmony, symmetry. When you understand the laws of the universe, that is beauty. When you are confused, you can't see the beauty. What do you do instead? You blame. You blame God, you blame other people, you blame yourself. It doesn't matter. Blame is always death in disguise. It starts with blame, and then sooner or later it becomes a disease. How do you want to call this disease? You want to call it cancer? You want to call it this, autoimmune? It doesn't matter. First, it starts by the person not being in harmony with his environment. That means something is already walking bad inside himself. If that's not going to be treated sooner or later, that will find itself finally into fight and disharmony inside the body. And therefore, the whole parashat Hukat has, as it says, that God always creates the remedy before the disease. So as we go into the month of Tammuz, we get a third chance of work, which is how to cleanse that negativity that makes us in dis-ease, makes us sick. The first one is the biggest of them all, because about it says, Zot Hukat HaTorah. And what the Zohar explains, Zot Hukat HaTorah, we're reading in Parashat Bamidbar, in Sefer Bamidbar, the book of Numbers, chapter 19, verse 1. And then it says, and God spoke to Moses and Aaron, and it says, Zot Hukat Torah, verse 2. This is the law of the Torah. Okay? And what is the law? You should take a red heifer, a red young cow, totally, completely red, healthy and complete, asher en ba mum, asher lo aleh all, that never carried a yoke of all kind, even a blanket, for someone else. Never served anyone. Just raw, naked, red cow energy. What do you mean raw, naked, red cow energy? So, we spoke about it in many, many other previous years, but I'll repeat. The Zohar says very clearly, verse 18 in the translation of the Sulam. דבר בני ישראל ויקחו לך פרה, היי פרה לדחיותה כרעתיה. I'm reading from the Zohar first. לדכאה למסבי, פרה דקבילת משמאלה, ומנו לשמאלה שור. כדאי אמר, ופני שור מהשמאל, אדומה סומקה כברדה, דכתיב כשושנה בין החוכים, אדומה גזרה דינה. Okay, first of all, if you know the language of branches, which is the language of Kabbalah, what does it mean? Everything that we can perceive in the physical senses is not reality. What we see is only a shade of the real reality. Okay? So, if you know that you see shadows, you start to extrapolate. If the shadow goes to the right, it means that the body that casts that shadow goes to the right. Which means the moment you know you're looking at shades, you start to realize, to extrapolate on the real thing that's happening. Okay, so what does it say? That the moment it says red cow, oops, if you know Kabbalah, you know the language. You know that in Ezekiel's chariot, Ezekiel chapter 1, speaks about the chariot, and the chariot has 4 faces. There's a face of a lion face to the south, to the right, and an ox face to the left. Why? Is that something that you should draw? Because it's very exciting, you know, lion, you know, that's art. Well, not everybody is an artist. Not everybody gets excited from a description like this. But if you know the language of Kabbalah, you understand that when it says a lion, it means about, and to the right, it means about chesed, right column, loving kindness, the plus energy. Okay? When it speaks about the ox, this is gvura, judgment, left, the north. Okay? Judgment, negative energy, negative not by bad, evil, but like plus and minus in electricity. And when you speak about the east, that's in between them, to the center, that's the eagle, the symbol of the balance, air, central column, and so on. And then there's human, which is the completing this, like, you know, like the elements. Lion is water, ox is fire, eagle is air, and human is earth. We have 4 elements, 4 ingredients for complete things that can function. Okay, so when the moment I say an ox, I mean left column, judgment. Okay, when I speak about a cow, says the Zohar, this is the female of the ox, which means we talk about male and female. Male is the plus, female is the minus. The male is giving the sperm, the female is receiving, is the vessel to receive that sperm. Okay, so we have plus and minus, giving and receiving. Well, again, we're not talking about people. We're talking about symbols. Okay? Talk about symbols. Nobody should get, oh, what about feminism? You're not in this business. Okay? We're talking about forces in the universe that we're speaking about. And when we say minus in electricity, this is not evil. It is a simple, you know, you need for electricity in plus and minus. You need that.
Contraction.
Okay, now, so if it's a red young cow, which means what is red? Red is again the sign of fire, left column. So we talk about triple minus, triple negative, triple judgment. Ox, female ox, and red. Okay? And then to emphasize, never had a yoke, which means it's a pure negative, never served anyone, never was forced to transform into giving. Which means if the owner of that cow was going around, he had this blanket, and he saw there's a calf that was born, he had to help, he didn't want the blanket to get dirty. So he put it on the cow. This cow cannot be the red heifer. Why? She served somebody. But if she was cold and he put the blanket on her to warm her, that's okay. Why? Because it was to serve her and not her serving anybody else. You understand how we can make actions that look alike but have totally different meaning, right? In different circumstances, right? So it's okay. So now, why? Because we want to take that epitome of negative. Why do we want to take that? Because the Zohar explains to us that why do people get off? Social and then physical. It's all starting from left column that is not being controlled, treated. As we had the opportunity, remember when? In Nisan. What happened in Nisan? That was a fire sign. And what do we have in Nisan? We had to look for the chametz, the sour, the rising bread and gluten. And we had to take control of it and to suppress it, to create that remedy that when You take the desire, I want, I want, I want, I want, I want, and you control it. You do not detach from it. You control and transform it. You use it for transformation. Yes, I am here to want, but only one condition. If you want it to be good, you make sure that others get some merit out of it too. If you want to be happy, make other people happy also. So yeah, I'm entitled, not entitled, I'm supposed to. I have to be happy. One condition. It's not going to be on other people's expense. Love others as you love yourself. So first of all, if you're not treating your desire to receive for the self alone, what happens? Desire to receive for the self alone, when it awakens, says the Zohar, it arouses the tzimtzum. What is the tzimtzum? Shut down the system. Or, as the Zohar calls it, man'ula. It clocks you. Which means every time we have this bitter, negative, selfish hurt, and we are not transforming it and sweetening it, like when we chewed up on the maror, the bitter herb, and turn it into sweet. The moment we allow that bitterness to take over us and to become slaves to it, the tzimtzum wakes up, shuts down the light, locks it down, and that's called man'ula. Man'ula, the lock. It doesn't kill you immediately, but it kills you a little bit, and it's accumulative. The more you allow that to happen, more and more, it's like, a big factory, huge plant, and nobody takes care of it, so little fuse pops here, and little by little the whole thing shuts down. That's called aging. Why? When you stop transforming, when you stop fighting the man'ula, you stop opening it up, what is called maftuha. How do you open the man'ula? When you transform the bitterness, the negativity, the hurt into positive. Okay, so sometimes you need a help from the outside because you shut down yourself. Man'ula, 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 that locks in, and then finally, most of the system is shut down. So you're half alive, maybe 10% alive. You just do the minimum you're in a survival mode. And when somebody asks you, what about the future? And you say, what future? What are you talking about? I hardly survive. It's because you collected a lot of man'ula. Why the man'ula, or death, being created? Because death means, the angel of death means, left column uncontrolled, wild left column, which is represented by the red cow. What do you do with the red cow? You burn it down. Fire, you fight with fire. You get the ashes of the red heifer. Now, you take that ashes and you dilute it in spring water. And then you treat people with that. What happens? It awakens the negativity, but it makes you deal with it and transform it, because it's, what's the power of the fountain of youth? It's exactly the opposite of the man'ula. It's the fountain of youth is always a symbol of life that is streaming from bottom up against gravity, against negativity, against, forget about it. Nah, it's never going to be better. So the remedy here against death is the red heifer. It's awakening, like whoever knows a little bit about homeopathy. It's awakening that thing that is the whole story of that got you sick, but now it forces you to wake it up after it was locked down. Okay? Now, is this the only sign we have? Oh no. The first part is about the red heifer and the purification that a person can go through using the red heifer. That has been used during the time of the temple. Sages still had red heifer, the ashes, for a few centuries later on, and then there are no evidences of people using red heifer. Although we have an evidence from Rabbi Ezekluria, 16th century, that he told his students that he knows there's a place in Jerusalem, there's a jar of ashes of the red heifer, that in Messianic ages that jar will be found, and we can start all over again, the healing process. Now, but that's not the issue right now. The issue right now, when we read this parasha, is it is to awaken all those judgments we did not resolve, all those negativities we did not transform. Instead of being victims to it, transforming that, how? That's a law. The law is when you transform pain into unconditional love, unconditional awareness that everything is for the good, then even the worst things we did, the worst emotions we experienced, will be turned into positive light. Why? You look backwards and you see yourself being in such a pit, such despair, such blame and negativity. The moment you're out of it, the feel of redemption is so great. Only when it's a complete trust and faith and connection to the light. So this is the first part, which means we know when people can transform all those locked moments and parts in their personality into great excitement about life, knowing that everything was great, which is the great enlightenment, then healing can take place. Okay? But we have some other sides to that. Because if you read the parasha, it's not just about the red heifer. Chapter 19 is about the red heifer. Chapter 20 is something else. It is about the death, the departure of Miriam. We have to understand, we're skipping over here 39 years. Because the red heifer, that's in the desert. Just the second year after Exodus, after getting out of Egypt, Miriam passes on the 40th year in the desert. So we just skip here from chapter 19 to chapter 20, 39 years that we have no records what happened over there. Probably it's none of our business. Okay? That's why. Okay. What is Miriam? What is a symbol of Miriam? Miriam was a woman, she was a healer, she was a leader. She was the mother of the people by she, with her merit, she brought the water. The legend says that in her merit, we're talking about a few million people in the desert. How did you find the desert? No water. And it's hot. Without water, you're finished. Okay? So Miriam brought this stone, this rock, magical rock. Whenever the rock was traveling with them by magical forces, and when they were camping, that rock camped, and when their camps were ready, the water would come out of the rock. 13 rivers would come out of the rock, one for every tribe and one for the temple work. 13 rivers. Magical. Okay, believe it or not, why do I need to read that story? Because Miriam is the power of water. And we know that water, as we said before, is symbol of healing. And water coming out of the rock, spring, the fountain of youth, these water have, and it says, there's a legend. So where is this rock? The legend says that this rock, when they came to the Holy Land, this rock went to the lake of Kinneret, the lake of Galilee, and jumped into the lake, and it's there. We have a record from Rabbi Chaim Vital that he says that when he was starting to study with his teacher, Rabbi Zakluria, he used to forget everything. He would sit and study and learn from his teacher, and the moment he was out, nothing was left. So his teacher said, yeah, what I'm going to do with you? Okay, let's go to Tiberias. They went to Tiberias. They went south of Tiberias, and there was a location on the shores. He took a boat, they sailed into the sea, and then the Arizal said, this is where the well of Miriam is. Jump into the lake, deep inside. From now on, you'll remember. So he made a mikveh in that part of the lake. He came out. From that moment on, he remembered everything. What is forgetfulness? In Hebrew, shichecha. Shichecha is the same letters as chashecha. Darkness. Darkness. Which means memory. Zikaron means also zachar, male, which means energy coming in. Forgetfulness means energy blocked. Why do we forget? When we forget stuff we cannot deal with emotionally, so we shut it down. A lot of people have a lot of issues they cannot deal with. So what do? They shut it down. If you forget, does that mean it's not there fermenting and killing you? Or it does. Yes, it does. The more you forget, the more sick you become. So the process of the healing is basically the process of one hand enlightenment, the other hand is getting inside and hunting for those emotions you forgot. Because if you don't transform them, bitter into sweet, darkness into light, they can kill you. That's what they do. They kill. So the red heifer reading of this parasha has the ability to wake up, to bring up those forces of death so we can destroy them. Miriam's well is again giving us the chesed, the water energy of grace and love, motherly love, that will give us the ability to deal with that with a kind of a safe, secure mode that, remember, Miriam is around, the water of the well of Miriam is here to help us to remove the darkness, to say, you know what, it was okay. You know, when you're coming home as a child, there was something terrible happening in school, and your mother hugs you and says, you know, it's okay, nothing happened. It's really okay. You know, don't even bother. It's okay. I love you. God loves you. Everything is okay. You know, you just forget it, but you just erase it. It doesn't bother you anymore. Because love and water can erase all negativity. So that's why we need the story of Miriam here. But here we had another story of Miriam, in which when Miriam passes on, she's not around. The stone is not giving water anymore, and everybody's thirsty, and they're really deep in the desert. So everybody's complaining, and Moses is being told and Moses and Aaron are being told by God, take the staff and go and talk to the stone. One of the most famous stories in the whole 5 books of Moses, right? Mm-hmm. And Moses does not talk to the stone. He hits the stone twice. And he hits it with this kind, I know you guys, if I just talk to the stone, you're not going to believe me. So he hits the stone. And God says, oh, you didn't believe me? You and Aaron are not coming into the promised land. It's a whole game of words, because if people are not ready, as we said in previous parashot, Moses, Shlach Lecha, he knew he can't go into the Holy Land because you have to let them shine. You can't just do everything for your kids. You have to let them shine. The only gift you can give them is faith. And get them and coach them into faith. When they have a strong faith, they will be able to be independent and withstand any pain and any failure, because people fail. That's what they do. They're people, right? It's not about failing. It's about Sheva Pamim Mipol Tzadik Vekam. A righteous person, says King Solomon, falls 7 times and gets up. Why? He doesn't give up. Why he doesn't give up? He has faith. He knows that more than I want to be successful, my Father, my King in heaven, wants me to be successful. He won't let me lose. He will push me and push me and put till I make it happen. He's my biggest coach. So he has the faith in me. How can I give up on it? Because that's how this universe is wired. It's again about the law. And there's no question about it. And if you don't understand that, you'll have to come again and again till you get it. And when you live by the law, you finally can enjoy life. And as we said, the Zohar says, if you're miserable and you suffer, and you be stepped on, and you're a victim, and you're a slave, and whatever, you can't go to heaven. Why? You never, ever use that system that was created for you to feel great against the odds, because and in spite of the failures and the hardships. This is an excitement you cannot get in heaven by yourself. The only place to get it is over here. Okay? When you get it, you do it. When you don't get it, you have to have another round. So, Moses simply realizes that the Israelites are not ready. They're not ready to be on their own. They have still to go and get it by themselves. So, then we'll skip it, it's like all part of it, but there's something that is more important. Aaron passes on, the next stage. So we have the departure of Miriam and Aaron, this parasha. And we know when a righteous person leaves this world, he creates such a fountain, same energy of a fountain of youth. So when you attach to it, it clears you. Because they don't leave earth with, oh, it was terrible, okay, funny, it's gone. They leave the world with man. It's called Mesirut Nefesh, initials man, or Maim Nukbin, female water. It's the yearning, it's with a kiss, with a love. It's like, finally I go to my Father in heaven. What an excitement. What a union. That energy cleanses so much around it. So we have Miriam and Aaron. When they left, there was like, whoa, a vortex was created. So we have that vortex. What for? So we can follow the vortex and get some of that energy of real life. But then, Aaron is gone. They don't have the clouds anymore. They're being attacked by the Canaanites. And because of the attack, they go backwards. And they're already like, it's 40 years already. They're very near. It says the previous stories, they come close to Edom. Edom was, Petra, the red rock. They were trying to go through Edom into the Holy Land. The Edomites says, no, you're not going to my place. Forget it. So they didn't. They were not supposed to. But they got like, oh, we are so close. When you're so close and you see it in front of you and you don't get it, everybody started to complain. Oh, we didn't complain for 39 years. Same results. As everybody was complaining, a whole huge amount of snakes appeared from out of nowhere and started to bite them. Till now, they're protected by the Aaron's clouds. What is Aaron's clouds? Chesed. When a person is giving, sharing with unconditional love, he has clouds of protection. What is a cloud made of? Many, 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 many tiny droplets of water. What is water? Chesed. When a person is wherever he goes, he creates those tiny little and big actions of chesed and loving and caring, with a smile over here, with whatever, you create a cloud. Oh, he walks on a cloud. Yes, who created the cloud? You created the cloud. Take an example from Aaron. You don't have the cloud? When? When you start to talk bad on others. Who was the first one to talk bad on others? The snake. So you start to talk bad on others. Here comes the snake. You asked him. You invited him. Okay? As the snakes are coming, and it says, go to Numbers 21, verse 7. Vaishalach Hashem bam et hanchashim asrafim. And God sent to the nation the serpents, snakes. Vaynashchu et ha'am, and they bit the people. Vayamot am rav Yisrael, a lot of people died. Vayavo am el Moshe ve'emu chatanu, ki dibarnu b'Hashem uvavach. So everybody comes to Moses, oh, we sinned, because he spoke against you and against God. Hitpalel el Hashem ve'asar maleinu et hanachash. Pray to God, and he will take away the snake. What do you mean, you don't know how to pray yourself? Why are you asking Moses to pray? Because when you don't have faith, you don't believe that your prayers mean anything. They were such in bad shape. Vayitpalel Moshe ba'adam. So Moses prays for them. Vayomer Hashem el Moshe, aseh lecha saraf. So God says to Moses, make yourself a serpent, a snake. Sim oto al nes, put him on a banner. But banner, nes, means also in Hebrew a miracle. It's a game of words. Vaya kol anashuch v'ra'ah oto v'chayin. Everyone who's bitten by a snake will look at the banner, and he will live. Vayas Moshe nechash nechoshet. So Moses makes a copper snake, but in Hebrew it sounds nechash nechoshet. Nachash, snake. Nechoshet, snake. You hear the sound. What is copper? Copper, again, gold is silver is right column, it's a white metal. Gold is left column, it's red metal. The copper is the center column. Gets you back into balance. V'yisimeu al hanes, and he put him on the copper snake on the banner, miracle. V'yayim nashach nachash et ish. And it happened if a snake bit a person. He looked at the serpent, at the snake, copper snake, and will live. How did that work? Comes the Nachmanides and explain to us. Nachmanides, again, 12th century, he was living in Girona in Catalonia. He was forced to have an argument with the church. He won. Therefore, he had to flee. That's the way it is. You're not allowed to win. Okay, there was no democracy at that time. Okay, and what the Nachmanides is saying, which was a great Kabbalist, one of the first Kabbalists of the new era, and he says like this, סוד הדבר הזה, says the Nachmanides, the Torah gives us the ability to create a miracle within a miracle. How a miracle? How would that? To remove the damage, and removing the damage brings the healing. When somebody is sick, it's because there's a damage. If you want, how do you heal? So in modern medicines, you give some suppressive medication like cortisols, antibiotics, whatever, they suppress the disease. But real healing is to remove the damage, and then the body will heal itself the moment the damage is not there anymore. Okay? ותרפא החולי במחלי, וכמו שהזכירו, באירועי השם עץ. And then says the Nachmanides something like this. He says, we know that when somebody is traumatized, let's say a snake bit him, or a stray dog bit him, when they are traumatized, you're not supposed to expose them to the source of their trauma, because that makes it worse. Why? Post-trauma. When somebody experiences a terrible sickening event in their lives, every time, the whole thing could be going into kind of dormant state or remission. But if something happens to remind them, they suppress, they forget, they put it in a closet, dark closet, and they hide the skeletons inside, right? So it looks like they're healed. They're not. It's fermenting inside and killing within, but they are in denial. However, the moment they're being exposed to something similar, the whole thing can re-erupt. We know that, says the Nachmanides, for medicine. Okay? So, he said, that somebody who was bitten by a snake, he's traumatized, terribly traumatized, especially that, human beings have, you want to scare them, say snakes. To show a person that was bitten by a snake, to show him a snake, normally should worsen the situation. And he says, but he didn't. Why? Like the story of the red heifer. In order to heal the problem, you have to awaken the hurt and transform it. That's the only way to deal with it. The red heifer will do that. This copper snake does the same thing. How? They say, what do you think, that just looking at the snake got them healthy? No. He says, what he says, the moment they saw the snake, וכשיהיה האדם כי כתיבה השם שיתרבו במזיק הממית, בטבע ועשו דמותו ושמו. The Creator gave the order that they will be healed, but the same thing that almost killed them, that got them hurt. How? וכשיהיה האדם מביט בכוונה אל נחש הנחושת. When a person looks at the serpent snake, and he would have a kavanah. What? להודיעם כי השם ממית ומחיה. That hurt will reawaken, but now if they had the intention that only God resurrects and kills, that will make them pray. And if they prayed, what did they do? They got back into faith. What brought them to speak bad was lack of faith. When you get back to faith, you can overcome the poison of the snake. And then you can get healed. So again, you want sometimes real healing is you have to bring the person to the source of the problem and make them deal with that. To chew it up, control it and transform it, and the victory is the healing. Then it's over with. So we have another thing, we have a song over here. After the miracle of Moses hitting the stone, then every time they came to a camp, the leaders of the Israelites, they had a song to sing, and when they were singing around, they would gather around the well and sang, and then the well started to spring. What are we talking about? Here we are already learning to pray on our own. Instead of running to Moses, pray for us. We're not babies anymore. We're starting to stand on our feet to show, okay, we can do it. And it starts, אז ישיר ישראל את השירה הזאת, which is amazing. I'm talking about chapter 21, verse 17. The song of the Red Sea, אז ישיר משה ובני ישראל. Moses and the children of Israel sang the song of the Red Sea, right? What does it say over here? אז ישיר ישראל את השירה הזאת. Israel sings it. You understand? It's like you don't have the helping wheels anymore. Guys, get to work, start healing yourself. Start creating the fountain of youth within you. When a person is starting to create that, I remember once I had that group of people where they were like people who went through rehab from drugs, alcohol, stuff like this, but they were coming back all the time. So I said to them, you know, we need to have a community outside the rehab. And we created this little community, and everybody would gather once a week and be on the phone with each other, and they loved each other, and they cared for each other, and they supported each other. So for a whole year, nobody went back. They stayed clean, and then I had to move to another country, so I didn't get in touch with it. But that's how it works. And so they say, like, this is such a miracle, we have a friend. They bring him to the meetings. So what's your problem? The guy has cancer, he needs to have bone marrow transplant. What is bone marrow? It's stem cells. Stem cells are those cells found in the blood that they can grow everything from within. So I said, he wanted to, so what's the date? He said the 9th of Av. I gave him the date. Look, that's the 9th of Av. You don't do that on the 9th of Av. Please, this is a negative day. Postpone it to another day. Meanwhile, this is the time. Hukat, Balak, Pinchas, all of those parashot of healing of this coming month, use them and be part of the community. Everybody will pray for you. You pray for everyone. Finally, a few weeks later, he goes and they go through this how do you call it? They try to get the stem cells from his blood, and they come to him after that. It says, like, you have a world record of stem cells. Why? Because when we read that Zohar, when we learn those ideas and we work on it, we become the fountain of youth. How do you know? Your stem cells start to rise and they go around the body and they fix stuff. And your body is recuperating. So when a person is with love and excitement and happiness, whatever, we fix stuff in our body that we don't even know they're sick. So that's Az Yashir Israel. Everybody is singing and happy and together. That's a fountain of youth. You and you and you and each one of us can become the fountain of youth. So they let's go back to that story. So we have a world record of stem cells coming in one session from you. You don't need all of them. You have like 4 times the amount to resurrect a dead person. So donate it to others. Of course, I'm happy. Take it. So other people got also from that person supposed to be dying of cancer. So just to finish, then in the end they finally reach the gates of the Holy Land. When do you reach the gates of the Holy Land and overcome the problems? And when you are really getting the responsibility that you're not a slave, you're not a victim, and you have the power and the ability to resurrect yourself every time you fail, every time you messed up, every time you create that short circuit or negativity or whatever call it, or go within yourself and find those places, correct them, transform them, and turn them from death to life. Thank you so much, and have a great week. Shavua Tov.